Listen carefully, because the fact that you pressed play means something inside you is still choosing growth over comfort, even if you feel tired, uncertain, or unnoticed. And this message is not here to rush you, hype you, or pressure you. It is here to stay with you while you keep moving forward calmly, steadily, and with intention. There will be moments in life when motivation disappears completely and all that remains is choice, and this is where real strength is built, not in loud wins but in quiet continuation. You may feel like progress is slow or invisible, and that can test your patience, but understand this clearly: anything that lasts is built layer by layer, and you are laying those layers right now. Discipline, patience, emotional control, and self-trust, and these qualities do not announce themselves early, they reveal their value later when pressure increases and responsibility grows. You are learning how to continue without needing applause, and that ability will protect you in seasons where support is absent and expectations are high. Fear may still appear when the future feels unclear, but fear is not a sign to stop. It is a sign that you are stepping beyond what is familiar, and familiarity has never been the same as destiny. Courage is not loud action, it is calm movement despite uncertainty. Every time you choose to stay steady instead of panicking, you strengthen resilience, and resilience is what carries people through long journeys. When excitement fades, you do not need to fix everything today. You only need to take the next honest step and protect your energy. While doing it, rest when needed, slow down without guilt, and adjust without abandoning direction, because rest is not quitting, it is strategy. You are becoming someone who can be trusted by themselves, and that self-trust becomes confidence that does not collapse under criticism, delay, or comparison. Others may seem faster, louder, or more visible, but speed without alignment leads to burnout, while steady, aligned effort builds endurance, and endurance is what allows success to last. You are not late, you are aligning. You are not lost, you are preparing, and preparation always comes before expansion. Stay with this message, allow it to move beside you while you work, while you think, while you breathe, reminding you that progress is happening even when it feels quiet, that strength is growing even when it feels invisible, and that consistency always compounds even when motivation does not. Keep going calmly, keep going honestly, keep going without comparison, because this steady path you are walking is exactly how meaningful long-term success is built, and the fact that you are still listening right now already proves that you have what it takes to stay the course and finish strong. Stay with this message, because this is the stage where something important begins to shift inside you, even if you cannot name it yet. This is where motivation slowly steps aside and consistency quietly takes control, and most people never reach this point because they mistake excitement for commitment. But you are still here, which means you are learning how to move without being carried by emotion. You may notice that things feel less dramatic now, less exciting, and more repetitive, and that repetition is not a sign of failure, it is a sign of alignment, because repetition is how habits form, and habits are what shape identity. You are becoming someone who does not need to feel inspired to act, and that ability creates stability in a world that constantly changes. There will be days when your effort feels ordinary, when results feel delayed, and when your mind asks whether this steady pace is really worth it. And in those moments, remember that anything built quickly can be lost quickly, but anything built patiently becomes part of who you are. You are training yourself to show up even when no one is watching, and that quiet discipline will support you when pressure increases and responsibility grows. Fear may still appear when outcomes are uncertain, but fear does not control you anymore, because you are learning to act despite it, and that is real courage, not loud, not dramatic, but reliable. You are also learning how to protect your energy, choosing when to push and when to pause, and this balance is not weakness, it is intelligence. People who burn themselves out early rarely last, but people who learn pacing early remain steady for years. You are not behind, you are building capacity, and capacity determines how much success you can hold without breaking. Every calm decision you make now, every time you choose to continue without rushing, is reinforcing self-trust, and self-trust becomes confidence that does not depend on praise, comparison, or quick results. Stay with this message. Let it remind you that this phase you are in is not empty, it is foundational, and foundations decide how high you can build without falling. Keep moving forward calmly, honestly, and consistently, because the fact that you are still listening proves that you are no longer driven only by motivation. You are becoming driven by commitment, and commitment is what finishes what motivation starts. Stay with this message, because this is the phase where strength stops being emotional and starts becoming structural, and most people never realize when this shift happens. They only feel that things have gone quiet and assume something is wrong, but quiet does not mean weak, quiet means stable. You are no longer being pushed forward by excitement, you are being carried forward by choice, and that is a higher level of growth. You may notice that you do not feel the same rush you once did, and instead you feel steadier, more grounded, and sometimes even challenged by boredom. And that boredom is not your enemy, it is a test asking whether you can stay without stimulation, and those who pass this test gain control over their direction. You are learning how to continue when there is nothing dramatic pulling you forward, and that skill will protect you when life becomes demanding, because real pressure does not arrive with excitement, it arrives quietly. And expect stability. You are building that stability now through consistency, patience, and emotional regulation. There will be moments when your mind tries to convince you that you should be further ahead or that others are doing more, but comparison ignores depth, timing, and sustainability. Your journey is not meant to look fast, it is meant to last, and lasting requires endurance. You are also learning that showing up without recognition builds inner leadership, leadership over your reactions, decisions, and habits, and that inner leadership is what allows you to stay steady when external guidance disappears. Fear may still surface when the future feels uncertain, but fear no longer decides your actions, because you are learning to move with awareness instead of urgency. Every calm step you take, every time you choose not to quit, reinforces self-respect, and self-respect becomes confidence that does not collapse under stress. You do not need to rush this process, because rushing creates fragile results, while steady effort creates resilience, and resilience allows you to handle success without losing balance. Keep listening, keep breathing, and keep choosing consistency, because this quiet phase is not slowing you down, it is strengthening the core that will support everything you build next. And the fact that you are still here, still listening, and still moving forward proves that you are becoming someone who finishes, not someone who only starts. Stay with this message, because this is the moment where you begin to understand that your pace does not need permission and your progress does not need comparison. You are learning how to move forward without apologizing for being steady instead of rushed, and this shift changes everything. There will be times when the world around you feels loud, demanding faster results, quicker responses, and visible wins, but you are discovering that speed without clarity creates stress, while steady movement creates confidence. You may notice moments of doubt, asking whether you should be doing more, pushing harder, or proving yourself louder, and when those thoughts appear, remember that pressure is not the same as progress, and urgency is not the same as purpose. You are becoming someone who can choose calm action over reactive motion, and that ability will protect you when expectations rise. You are learning how to trust your judgment instead of chasing approval, and that trust forms the backbone of independence in thought, decisions, and direction. There will be days when your effort feels unseen and your discipline feels heavy, but unseen effort compounds quietly, and heavy discipline builds strength that lasts. You are not required to explain your pace to anyone who is not walking your path, because your responsibilities, values, and timing are unique to you. Fear may still visit when the outcome feels distant, but fear loses influence when you continue anyway, because action grounded Impatience weakens doubt over time. You are building emotional endurance now, the kind that allows you to stay composed. You need to remain aligned while you move, and alignment keeps you from burning out before you reach what you are building. Every time you choose to stay steady instead of speeding up for validation, you reinforce self-trust, and self-trust becomes confidence that does not wobble under pressure. Keep listening, keep moving, and keep honoring your pace, because this phase is teaching you how to respect your process, and respect for your process is what turns effort into lasting success. You are not falling behind, you are building forward in a way that will hold when life demands more from you, and that is exactly how strong futures are created, quietly, consistently, and without apology. Stay with this message, because this is the phase where pressure stops feeling like an enemy and starts becoming a tool, and most people never learn how to use it. They either rush to escape it or freeze under its weight, but you are learning how to stand inside pressure without panicking, and that skill changes how far you can go. There will be moments when expectations increase, when responsibility feels heavier, and when the outcome starts to matter more, and in those moments you may feel tension building, but understand this clearly: pressure does not break you unless you fight it blindly. When you stay calm, pressure sharpens focus, strengthens discipline, and reveals character. You are becoming someone who can carry weight without collapsing, and that ability is rare. You may notice that you are responding more slowly, thinking more clearly, and choosing your actions more deliberately, and this is not hesitation, it is control. Control over impulses, emotions, and decisions, and control is what separates consistent performers from emotional reactors. You are also learning that not every challenge requires immediate action. Sometimes it requires patience, restraint, and the confidence to wait for the right move, and that patience protects you from mistakes created by urgency. Fear may still appear when stakes rise, but fear no longer dictates your behavior, because you are learning how to act thoughtfully instead of reactively. Every time you choose composure over chaos, you strengthen self-trust, and self-trust becomes confidence that does not shake when situations get intense. You do not need to escape pressure to succeed, you need to learn how to operate within it, and you are doing that now, quietly, steadily, and effectively. Keep allowing this message to move with you as a reminder that the calm you are building is not weakness, it is power. Power that grows silently, power that lasts, and power that allows you to perform when others feel overwhelmed. You are not becoming harder, you are becoming steadier, and steadiness is what allows strength to remain available when it is needed most. Keep going at your pace, keep choosing clarity over rush, and keep trusting that this phase is shaping you into someone who can handle more without losing balance, because that is what real long-term success requires, and you are building it right. Stay with this message, because this is the phase where patience is no longer an idea but a practice, and this practice is shaping how you respond when results do not arrive on schedule. You may feel moments of restlessness, wondering whether your effort is being noticed or whether something should have changed by now, and those thoughts are natural, but they do not define the truth. The truth is that meaningful results often take longer than expected, because they are building depth, not just surface success. You are learning how to stay steady without constant feedback, and that steadiness is a powerful advantage in a world that expects instant outcomes. You are becoming someone who can work without immediate reward, and that ability builds endurance. Endurance allows you to continue when others stop, simply because they do not see quick validation. You may notice that you are less reactive now, less driven by every small fluctuation, and more focused on long-term direction, and this shift is not accidental, it is growth. You are learning that consistency does not mean forcing progress, it means trusting the process enough to stay committed even when the timeline feels uncertain. Fear may still appear when waiting feels uncomfortable, but fear loses power when you continue anyway, because action grounded in patience weakens doubt over time. You are also learning how to manage frustration without letting it turn into self-criticism, and that emotional control will protect you when challenges become more complex. Remember that pressure combined with impatience creates stress, but pressure combined with patience creates strength, and you are choosing strength every time you stay composed instead of rushing. You are not required to rush to prove your worth. Your worth is built through reliability, through showing up again and again with integrity, focus, and calm intention. Every steady step you take is reinforcing self-trust, and self-trust becomes confidence that does not depend on timing or applause. Keep listening, keep moving, and keep honoring the pace that allows you to remain balanced, because this phase is not slowing you down. It is teaching you how to last, and those who last are the ones who eventually reach places others only dream about. You are building that ability right now, quietly, consistently, and with purpose, and that is something no delay can take away. Stay with this message, because this is the phase where reliability begins to matter more than raw effort, and where your character is being shaped quietly through repetition. You are learning how to show up not just when it feels good, but when it feels heavy, ordinary, or demanding, and this is where most people slowly disappear. They wait for the right mood, the right timing, or the right feeling, but you are learning something more powerful: how to continue anyway. You may notice that your journey feels less emotional now, less dramatic, and more disciplined, and that is not a loss, it is an upgrade, because emotions fluctuate, but reliability builds trust, trust in yourself and trust from others. You are becoming someone who can be counted on, and that quality opens doors long before talent does. There will be moments when fatigue creeps in, when the effort feels repetitive, and when your mind asks whether consistency without excitement is worth it. And in those moments, remember that consistency is what turns effort into identity. You are no longer just trying, you are becoming the kind of person who follows through, and follows through calmly. Fear may still surface when responsibility grows or when expectations increase, but fear does not stop you anymore, because you are learning how to move with awareness instead of urgency. Every time you stay composed instead of reactive, you reinforce inner control, and inner control becomes confidence that does not break under pressure. You are also learning that progress does not always feel like momentum. Sometimes it feels like restraint, choosing not to quit, choosing not to overreact, and choosing not to abandon direction during temporary discomfort. And that restraint is strength. It allows you to conserve energy, think clearly, and continue longer. You do not need to impress anyone right now. You need to remain dependable to yourself, because self-dependability creates self-respect, and self-respect fuels long-term confidence. Keep allowing this message to remind you that staying steady is not boring, it is rare, and rarity creates value. The ability to remain consistent when things are quiet, difficult, or slow is what separates those who finish from those who fade out. You are not just moving forward, you are becoming reliable, and reliability is what allows success to stay once it arrives. Keep going calmly. Keep going honestly, and keep going with patience, because this phase is building the version of you that can be trusted with bigger responsibilities, bigger outcomes, and bigger opportunities. And that version of you is being shaped right now, one steady choice at a time. Stay with this message, because this is the stage where guidance becomes internal, and direction no longer comes from instructions, encouragement, or reminders from outside. You are learning how to move forward without someone constantly telling you what to do, and this shift is critical, because independence is what allows progress to continue. When support fades, you may notice that fewer people are checking in, fewer voices are giving advice, and fewer signals are telling you that you are on the right track. And that silence can feel uncomfortable at first, but silence is not abandonment, it is trust. Life is testing whether you can guide yourself now, whether you can hold direction without supervision, and you are learning that you can. You are becoming someone who does not need constant input to remain aligned, and that ability creates confidence rooted in self-leadership. There will be moments when uncertainty appears, asking whether you should change course, pause, or wait for confirmation, and in Those moments, remember that waiting for perfect clarity often leads to stagnation, while thoughtful action leads to learning. You are not required to have every answer. You are required to stay honest, attentive, and consistent. You are also learning that you are not alone in this process. You are becoming self-led, and self-led people do not crumble when conditions change. They adapt calmly and continue. Keep listening, keep trusting your decisions, and keep protecting your focus, because this phase is teaching you how to stand on your own direction, and that is what prepares you for higher levels of responsibility and impact. You are not being left behind. You are being trusted with independence. And independence is what allows you to build something meaningful without constant correction. Stay steady, stay focused, and keep moving forward, because the ability to guide yourself is one of the strongest forms of power you can develop, and you are developing it right now, quietly, consistently, and with purpose. Stay with this message, because this is the phase where doubt often tries to sound logical, convincing, and urgent, not because you are failing but because you are growing beyond what once felt safe. You may notice questions appearing, asking whether this effort is worth it, whether the timing is right, or whether you should change direction, and those questions can feel heavy, but understand this clearly: doubt is not a signal to stop. It is a signal that your comfort zone is being challenged, and growth always creates the tension. You are learning how to listen to doubt without obeying it, and that skill will protect you when pressure increases and decisions matter more. You are becoming someone who can pause, reflect, and still continue instead of reacting emotionally, and that ability separates those who stay consistent from those who constantly restart. There will be moments when others seem confident, loud, or certain, while you feel quiet and unsure. But certainty is often temporary, while commitment is durable. You are learning to commit even when confidence fluctuates, and that is real strength. You are also learning that direction does not require constant reassurance. It requires alignment with your values, effort, and long-term vision, and you are choosing alignment over impulse. Fear may still appear when responsibility grows or when the outcome feels important, but fear no longer controls your movement, because you are learning how to act thoughtfully instead of urgently. Every time you continue despite uncertainty, you reinforce self-trust, and self-trust becomes confidence that does not collapse when answers are delayed. You do not need to silence doubt completely. You need to keep moving while it exists, because action grounded in patience weakens doubt over time. You are not meant to feel fearless. You are meant to feel capable, and capability is built through experience, not avoidance. Keep allowing this message to remind you that doubt does not mean you are lost. It means you are stepping into something that matters. You are not behind. You are becoming, and becoming is rarely comfortable, but it is always meaningful. Stay steady, stay honest, and keep holding your direction, because this phase is strengthening your ability to remain centered under uncertainty, and that ability will serve you long after this journey reaches its next stage. You are not just moving forward, you are learning how to stay grounded while doing so, and that is what allows success to last when it finally arrives. Stay with this message, because this is the moment where pressure tries to convince you that faster means better and urgency pretends to be progress, but you are learning how to slow your reactions without slowing your results, and that distinction changes everything. You may feel external timelines closing in, expectations rising, and comparisons growing louder, and in those moments the instinct to rush can feel powerful, but rushing often sacrifices clarity while stability preserves it. You are becoming someone who can hold steady when demands increase, and that steadiness allows you to see options others miss, because calm creates perspective. You are learning that not every situation needs immediate action. Some require patience, restraint, and thoughtful movement, and this approach protects you from mistakes born from haste. There will be times when your mind tells you that you should already be further ahead, and that voice can feel convincing, but understand this clearly: depth takes time. And anything built with depth can withstand pressure later. You are building depth now through consistency, discipline, and emotional control, and these qualities do not announce themselves early, they reveal their strength when challenges intensify. You are also learning that choosing stability is not passive, it is deliberate. It means deciding not to be driven by anxiety, fear, or comparison, and instead being guided by intention, values, and long-term vision. Fear may still appear when stakes rise, but fear no longer dictates your speed because you are learning how to move with awareness instead of urgency. Every calm decision you make, every time you choose clarity over speed, reinforces self-trust, and self-trust becomes confidence that does not crack when timelines shift or outcomes delay. You are not missing opportunities by moving steadily, you are preparing to handle them without losing balance. Success reached too quickly often collapses, while success built patiently stands firm, and you are choosing the path that lasts. Keep listening, keep grounding yourself, and keep honoring the pace that allows you to remain composed, because this phase is teaching you how to operate effectively under pressure without sacrificing judgment, and that skill will define how far you go and how well you sustain it. You are not slowing down, you are strengthening your foundation, and foundations decide how high you can rise without falling. Keep going steadily, because the way you are moving now is exactly how long-term success is created, and you are doing it right even when it feels demanding. Stay with this message, because this is the phase where commitment matters more than clarity, and where many people slow down not because they are incapable but because they cannot see the finish line clearly, and uncertainty makes them uncomfortable. You may feel moments where effort continues but confirmation does not arrive, where work is being done but rewards are still quiet, and that silence can test your resolve. But understand this clearly: real commitment does not depend on seeing the end, it depends on trusting the direction. You are learning how to stay engaged without constant proof, and that skill is rare and powerful because life rarely shows the full picture in advance. You are becoming someone who can keep moving without needing reassurance at every step, and that ability builds inner leadership over your emotions, reactions, and decisions. There will be moments when your mind asks whether it would be easier to slow down, pause, or wait for clarity, but waiting for clarity often delays growth while thoughtful action creates it. You are not meant to feel certain all the time, you are meant to remain consistent even when certainty fluctuates, and this consistency is what strengthens your identity as someone who follows through. You are also learning that commitment is not about forcing yourself, it is about remembering why you started and choosing alignment over impulse. Fear may still appear when the path feels long or when results take time, but fear loses influence when you continue anyway, because action grounded in patience weakens doubt over time. Every time you choose to stay instead of quit, you reinforce self-respect, and self-respect becomes confidence that does not depend on timelines or validation. You are building the ability to remain steady during long stretches uncertainty, and that ability will support you in every major challenge ahead. You do not need to rush to arrive, you need to remain committed while you move, and commitment carried calmly creates momentum that lasts. Keep allowing this message to remind you that not seeing the finish line does not mean you are off course, it means you are still inside the journey, and journeys that matter always test endurance before they reward it. Stay steady, stay honest, and keep moving forward, because this phase is strengthening your capacity to finish what you begin, and that capacity is what turns effort into lasting achievement. You are not lost, you are progressing, and progress often looks like persistence long before it looks like success.